So, Nicholas, you've pretty much been shut down in terms of having a voice.
Sure.
So what are you going to do? How are you going to get your word out?
Well, of course, we haven't been happy with what's happened the last couple of days. It's now a dictatorship at this stadium, who they're putting in charge. It's a pro-News Limited board. Like one of the things that I've always wanted to fight for was the members to have a say and like to have the right to vote for who we want on the board and they're representing us, and also be able to attend general meetings. The biggest thing we've got to remember about the whole last couple of days is this audit. All right, nobody's seen it. We're all taking this audit as gospel. How can someone please show me whether it is 3.2 or 3.17 what they're saying? I'd like to see it. And as a member, I think we've got a right to that. I mean, other clubs, we're looking across the road at the MCG, right? Those teams are playing there today, Collingwood Skillet. Those members have the right to everything at a general meeting. Any report, they have the right to it. What do we have? Right to nothing.
Okay, from a perspective of News Limited, it's a financial operation, it's a business.
Yep.
They therefore want to protect, presumably, their business acumen and their reputation. But have they stepped over the line?
Of course they have. I mean, I've worked for a News Limited company before, or they were involved with News Limited, and I can tell you that if 100,000 was missing, they'd be all hell to pay for. So we're talking about 3.17 on their, on their shift actually, that was disappeared. They've got to have known about it. So they have stepped over the line on this one. They have actually sacked people as a HR manager. They've actually sacked people who've done nothing wrong. And this really upsets me. As far as the Fair Work laws in this country state at the moment, you can't, if you've done nothing wrong, you can't be sacked. It's an unfair dismissal, and that's what's happened. There's 4 people who are the only ones in the last 3 months to stick up for this club, except bar the supporters, of course, who have been sacked for nothing.
Okay, so what do you think they fear? Do they fear the court case?
Of course they do. Of course they do, and I can tell you something about that now if you'd like to know. Basically, what's happened is that the court case will not be going ahead with the 4 directors. They've spoken to me this morning and they've asked me to take it up. On behalf of the supporters, I'll be speaking to Mr. Peter Gordon on Monday. We're going to find out how much the cost is, and then we're going to have to do a public fund and try and raise the money so we can attend. I'm not letting this die. I mean, I can understand the directors have put a lot of money into this so far, and it's like hundreds of thousands just to get this far. Now, what they're willing to do is give us all the information they've collected so far, and there's some damning evidence, I can tell you that now. I know stuff that I can't say, but I will in time be able to say when it comes out. But for the time being, we won't be talking about that because of legal reasons, of course. But they'll be giving us all that. I've just got to work with Mr. Gordon and other, of course, barristers and solicitors, and hopefully we can continue the fight, because that's the major thing now. This has made me more angry. I was thinking about it today. I sat down and I thought about it, and I thought, well, honestly, should we let them get away with it, what they've done? They do this so often. Murdoch's well known around the world for doing this to not to clubs but to businesses as well, and to stopping people having the say. And I don't want to be stopped.
Can you tell me who rang you?
Someone directed. Look, I'll tell you. Last night I spoke to Mr. Rob Moody on Facebook. Actually, he's overseas at the moment at a AIDS conference in Vienna, and of course Rob was very upset. And he's going to have a statement that he's going to release through me in the next 24 hours that I'll be passing on to the members, which is a great honour because I really admire this gentleman for what he does and what he stands for. He was just speaking his word the last couple of weeks and actually telling the truth, and obviously telling the truth is not respected at this club, and I think that's been quite evident over the last 5 years. Obviously, if you're a liar, you get on well here.
And did he tell you in your discussion? Did he mention why they weren't proceeding?
No, not at all. Basically, I had another call of other people who are directors, who are linked to the directors. We're talking about Ma and Ryan, and basically, Mr. Jerry Ryan's put a lot of money into this so far. They can't because they're no longer working for the Storm. they cannot proceed with the court case. So as paying members, it can't be just a supporter. Like, there will be supporters out there that can probably give us money, but it has to be actually paid members who are going to take this fight up. When we first had a look at it, and that's one of the things at the first court day that we got recognised by the court as part of the court proceedings, and Serve News Limited and of course the NRL have forgotten about this, that we were recognised that first day, and that's why we can still proceed with the court proceedings, but it's going to cost a lot of money.
So pretty much you'll be looking almost like a class action where a community group will fund this action.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that we'll be talking about. We're having a meeting with some of the major supporters in the next 24 hours. And then we will be discussing that as well. There has been talk about that today, that people would like to take a class action against the NRL. It's very, line ball what you can do there. As far as things like the grand final tickets, it's an NRL run event. Now, there's a lot of us who went up for all those grand finals. I'm talking about 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. We paid for our accommodation, we paid for our airfares, and we paid for the tickets. Now, we're talking about, on average, probably $1,000 per person. Now, I've been told by people, and I haven't had to say in these proceedings either, I've been told by Mr. Gallop and the rest of these cronies here, that you're just going to accept it. But what am I going to do with all my memorabilia? What am I going to do about all the money that I've spent? Am I going to get compensation for it? No, but you're happy to take every month, for those people who can't afford it, who pay every month by instalments to come and see the guys play, or they pay their membership once a year. Now, this is just not on, all right? They're still grabbing us money off us, but they're fine with it. And what have they given us? Honestly, if it wasn't for the players, and I must say this too, if it wasn't for the staff that work for this damn club too, and they're the ones that are really hurting more than the players are, then I sure wouldn't be here at the moment. I'm so angry it's not funny.
Where do you think it went wrong? Is it because of News Limited's perceived conflict, that they have ownership of the Storm as well as the NRL? Is that where it's going?
Well, yeah, we haven't got confirmation about this, but if you want to talk about conflict of interest, I can tell you about now that GI, which is Greg Inglis, is going to Brisbane. Now, there was talk about this last weekend, started circulating in the rounds last weekend, but now supposedly, and I'm still waiting on confirmation of this, that he has signed with Brisbane. Now, talk about conflict of interest. The News Limited Corporation only owns 2 NRL clubs, and one of those clubs is Melbourne Storm, the other is Brisbane Broncos. Now, if the New South Wales clubs, and I hope that a few of them are going to watch this, if they don't stand up for their rights, and probably the Titans as well, and stop this happening, this is a joke. This is a conflict of interest, because what will happen is he'll get paid bugger all by the Broncos, which is a News Limited company, and we'll be footing the bill through our salary cap, and that's how they'll pay it. Gallop wants that. Gallop wants to make us suffer for at least 3 years so they can get premierships back there. And I hope, oh God, please pray, the Warriors or the Titans, well, not the Broncos now, but one of those sides bloody wins these premierships over the next 3 years to stick it up them all. Because that's all they want, is they want New South Wales winning this competition, and they don't care the damage. Now, it's a conflict of interest when you've got the people owning us running the NRL as well. Enough's enough, all right? There's a lot of, even we've got people up in New South Wales like Phil Gould and quite a few others who are coming out, and even players, Darren Lockyer the other day just came out and supported it. Thanks, mate. And supported us in our fight. And he agrees there's like a conflict of interest, and he bloody plays for one of the clubs that's owned by News Limited.
Are you convinced that there are other clubs that are breaching the salary cap?
Oh, more than convinced. Today, the ATA has decided they're going to do an audit on the NRL. Hello, about 3 months too late. Those shredder machines up in New South Wales and New Zealand and up in Queensland have been working overtime. They've had plenty of time to shred the evidence. Of course there was. I mean, this was a witch hunt. It was a witch hunt from day one. We were happy to have, from the word go on, when it happened on the 22nd of April, we made it quite clear as a supporter base that we were happy for an audit to be conducted on every club. Now, one of the things we've overlooked with this whole process, with the salary cap, and especially this audit has been done, why would an organisation like News Limited let a private organisation why would the NRL let News Limited do a private audit on their club and take it for gospel after we've breached the salary cap? Now, the question's going to be asked, all right?
Volumes of them, doesn't it?
That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why Gallop would let that happen? And that's what I can't, no one can answer that.
Okay. What do you plan to do next week?
All right, well, we're discussing about having a rally, it's a protest rally that will happen from Federation Square to the game here. It'll be probably held around 4:30, 5 o'clock. There's a lot of things at the moment. There's actually some members that are going to ask for their money back for their memberships. I think that will hurt the club more than it will hurt the News Limited Corporation, so I don't think that's a good thing. Because one of the other questions we're going to ask is this plan just to make sure it all folds in the next couple of years? So, but we don't want to really hurt the club. So what I want people to do is to back up what the 4 directors have done over the last couple of years, and especially in the last 3 months, by attending that rally next week. And hopefully we get a fair crowd there and it'll be good.